We have 2, perhaps 3 weeks at best. Then they will reclaim it. Tear down the walls and plow them under. I'm not sure what else we can do.
Thank you, Brother Rigdon. But I believe there is something we can do.
John Tanner, a recently converted member of the church in New York, received an impression by dream that he must go immediately to the church in Kirtland. At the time, John Tanner was a modern-day equivalent of a millionaire. On Christmas morning in 1834, he disposed of all of his property, which included several flourishing farms, a hotel, and multiple orchards, and loaded his large family into wagons and commenced a 500-mile trip to Kirtland, Ohio.
And I am John Tanner.
Brother Tanner, I know of your good heart. I believe a better name for you is Father Tanner.
When Brother Tanner arrived at Kirtland in early 1835, he found the prophet Joseph Smith and many of the brethren impoverished and desperately praying for answers as to the mortgage on the temple site, which was falling due. With haste, John Tanner loaned the prophet Joseph Smith $2,000, which by today's standards would be worth approximately $52,000. Brother Tanner then loaned the Kirtland Temple Committee $13,000, which would be worth $336,000. Finally, Brother Tanner signed a note for purchased goods in Kirtland for $30,000, which by today's standards would be worth $775,000. In many ways, the early stability of the church and the construction of the Kirtland Temple are due to the faith and sacrifice and light of John Tanner. After giving all of his wealth to the church, he left Kirtland for Missouri in complete poverty, with nothing more than a cart, a borrowed wagon, a horse, and $20 in cash. He would eventually beg for butter and food to sustain his family of 11.
Please, sir. A bit of buttermilk for my family, and some bread if you can spare any. We're very hungry.
Good day, son. And what is your name?
Joseph Smith Tanner.
No, sir. I beg of you.
One of his daughters passed away during this move from Kirtland to Missouri. There's no evidence that any of the loans were ever repaid to Brother Tanner. In 1844, 10 years after the Christmas morning when John took his wealth and his family to Kirtland, he was called to serve a mission. Meeting Joseph Smith on the streets of Nauvoo, he told the prophet that he needed to settle one matter with him before leaving.
Brother Joseph.
Father Tanner!
I leave today for my mission. But before I go, there is a matter I would like to settle with you. It is the loan on the Kirtland Temple land.
He gave the prophet his 1835 note for $2,000, signed in Kirtland by the prophet Joseph Smith to redeem the temple land. The prophet asked Brother Tanner what he wanted him to do with it. Brother Tanner then said, "Brother Joseph, you are welcome to it," and destroyed the note. Fast forward to another Christmas in our past of 2009. We were given empty jars from our son, brother, and Uncle Ray. He invited each of us to collect spare coins and place them in a jar. 1 year later, we would identify a family who would be blessed by receiving this offering as a means to bring light to their Christmas season. When our family returned home, we kept this jar in a visible place. As one season gave way to another, the jar slowly began to fill. Our hearts would fill with faith, unity, and light as we consider this effort to lift a family in need. Later, when all of our families are gathered together, we had collected over $600 to give to a family in need. Who can place the value on what this exercise has done for the souls who are striving to give, and what the gesture ultimately means for the family who received it? Think of what has been and can be accomplished by small but inspired acts as directed by the Holy Ghost.